Good afternoon, friends. So today is day of planting. We are in the garden planting a bunch of things, moving some cover crops. So I was able to find some sweet potatoes, which I shared with you guys in my last video. But let me show you. Sorry about that lighting. So I found today at the local feed store. It's called Broadwater's. If you hear a bunch of noise, it's people doing some construction or something down the road. But I was able to find some Beauregard sweet potatoes. Now there is about 7 to 8 plants in this. I got this for $5, you guys. That is less than $1 per plant. Now you cannot beat that. You can't, because I'm gonna get a bunch of sweet potatoes out of this. Last year I grew literally one single slip I put in the ground, and I got like 15 sweet potatoes. 2 of them were like this big. So I'm hoping I can prep an area good, like really good, so I can get more sweet potatoes than that. Last year was also the first time I tried a sweet potato, and you guys, I'm so glad I waited to try my own, because you know, from the garden you just can't beat food from the garden. So right now in the bed that I've prepped, I have got some regular potatoes, I've got some green peppers, some raspberries, some onions, some lettuce. This is a very full bed, but this is the best bed I have. It's the one that always produces the most things, and it gets things the biggest. So you could see here, this is our bed we're working with. We've got the raspberries above there, which those raspberries might start shading out this bed. Hopefully not. So you can see here, I've already prepped this area. I did have some violas and some, what else did I have here? Clovers. So that was packed full of those. I moved all of the violas. I moved the orange, you can see here. Those 2 there at the base of those plants. And then I moved these 2 right here. The red guy there and the purple and white guy there. Because, like I said in my previous video, as the summer starts to get hotter, these violas are going to not do as good. They do really, really good here in the winter months and in the early spring when it's still cool out, because they are cool season plants technically. So when it starts to get really hot here, they just start to look really, really terrible. So my thinking was, I can maybe negate that if I put them here in the shade. So I did that, put them in the shade, put these in the shade as well. They're in the sun right now, but they will ultimately be in the shade for most of the day. And then we prepped this bed. So you could see there, I've already got it prepped there is already Biotone starter fertilizer in there. Well, actually I use the plant tone. Let me just show you what I use. This stuff, you put this in the ground when you plant. Plant tone, all-purpose plant food. You can use Biotone, you can use plant tone, you can use garden tone. It's Espoma. This, you guys, this is the secret to my green thumb. People always say, oh my God, you're so good at gardening. But I've just gotten to know my soil. I've gotten to know the soil, and I've gotten to know how things work. And plants, just like people, need food, okay? So if you put these in the ground and you never give it any kind of fertilizer, if you never ever do anything, you just put it in the ground and there you go, you're not gonna get very many sweet potatoes, okay? You'll get 1 or 2 maybe, or if you just get lucky on the off chance that your soil is already fully nutrient dense and has everything your plant needs. In that case, which is going to be very rare, in that case you will get a lot of sweet potatoes. But if you don't feed your plants, they will not grow. This is something I had to learn through, you know, schooling and just trial and error. When I first started gardening, you guys, I was kind of against fertilizer. I was like, why would I don't want to give my plants anything. I just want them to be okay on their own. I want them to be totally organic. And while this is organic, this is an organic fertilizer, okay? It is something your plants need, because my soil is highly, not highly, it's kind of in the middle. It's slightly alkaline, slightly acidic. Now, you could do a soil test. You can do like really extensive soil testing if you want. But the best thing you could do is start to add plant matter to your garden. So if you are making a new bed, I suggest you dig about 3 to 4 feet deep, put some logs in there, put some sticks, branches, logs, and then put some some dead plant matter, some brown plant matter, and then some green plant matter. I usually use grass clippings, or you can use, like, if you trim your plant, you can just let it fall into the ground and let it decay into the ground. That that method of feeding your soil, because your soil is alive, you guys. There's like so many different types of ecosystems that live in the soil, that live off the soil. So if your soil is amended properly, your plants will be way less susceptible to pests and diseases, anything like that. So test your soil, make sure it's good. Right now I'm going to put a little bit of this, just looking for sage, making sure sage didn't run off. We're going to do a little bit of starter fertilizer. I just keep this little tin in here, and every time I plant something, I dig the hole and I put a little bit of fertilizer in the hole, because this is a slow release fertilizer. This, if you use a liquid fertilizer, it'll be your plants will take it up a lot quicker. This is a slow release, so over time it's gonna, you know, break down, and your plant will get what it needs. I have some peanuts in here as well, so I gotta be careful of that. Ouch. So we're gonna do one up here. Beautiful sweet potatoes with big, beautiful root systems. Look at that root system. Beautiful. Now we just, and this soil is full of worms, so that's really, really good. And you could also put this fertilizer on the top of the soil and water it down. But I would kind of suggest putting it in the hole. That's the best way, because then it's readily available to the roots. We've got lots in this bed here. All the onions. But I'm going to prep a couple different areas in the garden to put these sweet potatoes in. Got a lot more, 4 more plants. So, because those are going to get really big really fast. And yeah, we've already got a regular potato in here, 2 regular. We have 2 of them. We've got 2 green pepper plants, a bunch of onions, and a bunch of lettuce, which that lettuce is about to be done because it's starting to bolt, because we're getting into the warmer months, which means no more lettuce. Yeah. once I figure out where I'm going to plant those other sweet potatoes, I'll let you guys know. But for right now, I don't know where I'm going to plant them. So, look how big these onions are. Yeah, onions are heavy feeders, so if you've planted onions or garlic, they need lots of fertilizer, they need lots of food. Check out the poppy. Look at that big old flower head. Oh, I can't wait for it to open. Can't wait for it to open. Here is our Rose of Sharon, blue chiffon, looking fabulous. So here's our other little vegetable bed with the raspberries, lettuce, potatoes, lovage, and a green pepper. So I'm pretty sure I will be putting some sweet potatoes over in this bed with tomatoes as well, because we got lots of tomato plants that are almost ready to be put in the ground too. But for right now, you guys, I'm glad we got those two in the ground. So I'm going to, let's water everything in. And everything needs a good watering in. Friends, good morning. Okay, so it's the next day. Yesterday I went to, well, you guys seen I went to Lowe's, but I went back to Lowe's later on that day. Or later on in the day. And I got a couple more plants, and I also, spur of the moment, didn't film it because that's how my ADHD brain works. I just like get this burst of inspiration and I'm like, I gotta go do that thing. So I go do it, and then I'm like, kind of while I'm doing it, I'm like, I should be filming this. Hey, get off those things. Naughty little kitty. Here's our naughty little kitty. She loves to just get into stuff. Hey, don't just little kitty. So I want to show you what I did yesterday with the plants. I did something out front because there were a couple things that were not doing good at all. The arborvitae. I had two arborvitae. Let me just show you. Shut the hell up, Jennifer. Just show the people. So, out here, you could see right there and there, I had two arborvitaes that were just not doing good. Oh, let me show you. I moved them over here. I had the barberries here. But you could see these, they're still alive, but they're just not doing good, you know? They're alive, but they're not doing good. So I didn't want them front and center when you walk up, okay? So I put these two barberries here, but they're not to scale. Like, you know, it's gonna take them quite a while. And even at their top scale, at their maximum growth, they're not gonna be huge. They're gonna be like 3x3 or 3x4. So I went to back to Lowe's because I seen these. I seen these while I was there, but I couldn't make up my mind. These are two Weigelia plants, spilled wine. These top out at 2 to 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. So that's pretty big, but they also bloom. Hey, Sage! Get off there! Stop it! They also bloom. Which is, you know, the barberries do bloom and they change color in the fall. They're called, the barberries are called Rose Glow. I bought them on clearance, actually. Like most of my plants I get on clearance because they're not doing good, and they're cheaper, but they're really easy to like bounce them back and get them, you know, back looking good. And these guys, they were in the shade. These are full sun plants, barberries are. And they were not growing hardly at all under the canopy of that tree. See that canopy of that tree? Until about late April, there's no leaves on it. So they get a little chance to get some sun. And then they're shaded most of the summer, besides in the morning and at night when the sun is, further down in the sky. And then down there you could see I've got the little Miss Kim lilac that I bought. I bought that one on clearance because it was originally $42. I got it for $20. It was half off. I got lucky there. I was hoping to find a pair, but nope. You just take what you can get there. And I'm gonna change that. Cordyline from right there because that cordyline looks funny right there. It looks like it's not supposed to be there. It looks really weird. So I need to put something more bushy. And then I think I will be able to move these barberries down to kind of make another little hedge to finish off the hedge, actually, because you can see I've got the hedge of barberries there. And I'm hoping, well, at their full size, when they're all grown in, that will be a hedge. It will be a small, about 4 foot tall hedge of barberries. And that I want that to kind of be the perimeter, because they're thorns, they're thorn bushes, and that keeps things at bay. Keeps things at bay. So those, I'm excited for those new plants, those Weigelia. I've never planted Weigelia before. It's going to be my first experience with them. But I'm sure it'll be easy. I keep all the tags of everything that I do grow. And eventually I'll put it into one big book as like a garden record. Anyway, these guys, I don't think if there was anything else that I did garden-wise. Oh, there is. Almost forgot. So I got these 2 pots so I could make 2 arrangements. You can see I got these 2 pots. They're Allen and Roth. They're about $15, which is a good price for a pot. And then I also got these Euphorbia. I think these are Euphorbia. Diamond Frost Euphorbia. Yeah, for the winners. So I'm going to be making a container, some Dracaenas as the center, and then I've got this plant, or this little tray of a couple creeping jennies and some other things, but I also have a bunch of seedlings to use too. So, we will see. Okay, so this is the potting mix that I use. It is this Stay Green, only blue bag really in, or this color blue in Lowe's. It's got fertilizer in it. You do kind of have to break it up a little though, because it is very clumpy. And you don't want to touch the stuff with your bare hands because it stinks. Jenkins, out there killing the lizards, Jinky. There's these little tiny lizards that live around my house in the summer. I mean, they live everywhere, not just around my house. They're everywhere, but they're really There's a lot of them concentrated around my house because there's lots of little spots for them to hide, and they're really small. I don't know what kind of lizard they are. But they mostly live like on my steps or like around the concrete or rocks. And Pinky's always killing them, and I just saved one from him. Poor thing was still alive, and I got it out of his mouth, and it ran underneath the little grass pad that I have built back there. I am going to add a little bit of plant tone just because there's a lot of plants that I'm putting in in these containers. I've done this once or twice, but I've never made like matching pots. I've tried to do it a few times, but I've broke. I usually end up breaking them on purpose or on accident in a BPD rage. So I got plastic this time, okay? So I'm trying to just like think ahead of myself. I am going to put a little bit of this fertilizer in here though, just a tiny bit because this is a slow release. Just like a teaspoon in each pot. Just so there's some food in there. Get some more soil. I'm going to use some of this soil right here. This is old soil from different pots. I'm always using old soil. If I don't use it in a pot again, I'll just throw it in my garden, and it slowly builds up the soil in my garden, which is good. Perfect. Now, I hope you guys can see me. Let's see. Nope, you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. Hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing. I'll move out here so you can just make sure. Alright, so the plants we have are 2 spiked dracaenas, 2 Goldilocks creeping Jenny, 1 impatient, and 1 flamethrower coleus. And then we also have 2 diamond frost euphorbias. And I also have, that I might incorporate, are some caladiums coming out. These are just some caladiums I've had from last year. I've had these for a few years actually. And they need to be transplanted into something deeper. So I think adding like 3 in each pot would actually look really good. 3 or 4. We'll see. We'll see if I use those. So in the center, we're going to do this just spiked dracaena. That's going to be our thriller. So we want filler, thriller, thriller, filler, which is like this, filler. And then we want a spiller. You can use, I really like the look of, what is it called? The blue kind of looking flower that falls. We got the spiked dracaena. I don't know if I should do one of these in each. Yeah, we'll just do it that way. So spiked dracaena, you want to make sure there is like a soil line between your pot and your plant. These types of containers with the 3 elements, the thriller, filler, spiller, is kind of, it's like a recipe that you can use for a lot of different plant, like arrangements. Okay, so this coleus is pretty thick, so I'm going to pop one of these off. Because this will root. That will root in there. Because I've only got one coleus. I planted them in the ground, in the actual garden. So it's okay. So we'll put one Diamond Frost Euphorbia in each. Take off some of this soil. Kitty. I know I've been wearing this shirt a lot, guys, but it's because I'm trying to get an even tan on my back. Oh, I gotta keep an eye on that little kitty. She likes to run off. You know what I might do actually? I'm going to put this Dracaena towards the back a little bit. So instead of having it dead in the center, I want to kind of have this have a little bit of a different look. So, because these are going to kind of be up against a wall, so you're not going to see them from both sides, so it's kind of pointless to plant them as if you will. I mean, if you are going to see them from both sides, I plant them accordingly, but since I'm only going to be seeing these from one side, this makes sense to kind of put them towards the back. Because I already know these Dracaena, these spike Dracaenas get really big, really fast. Especially here in the south where it's hot. Okay, and then we'll pull up Creeping Jenny. Oh, it's kind of rooted to the impatient. Let's see, look at that. They fused. Oh, I gotta go on kitty run. Hold on. Look at kitty. Get back this way. Gotta watch that naughty kitty. And then we'll do this in the front here, creeping down. And then we'll take a couple caladiums. I'm not going to add the impatient because I've only got one, and it will throw off the arrangement if I do. Pull out these caladiums though. They need a deeper spot like that. So we'll just right down in the center, just go in. caladiums go dormant in the winter. I didn't know that when I first started growing them, and I threw the pot away after they died, or after, once they went to sleep, and had no clue that they came back. So I threw away perfectly good caladiums, which, granted, they did come back in the garden because I threw them out in the garden, and they came back. That's how I figured out they were a perennial type plant, and they go dormant in the winter. Some things you just don't know until you have it in your house or your garden or something for an extended period of time. So look at that, we've got like 4 forms all stuck together here, going different ways. And carefully pry those apart. Very easy to do. This big guy right down there. Yeah, those caladiums are going to look really pretty because they'll be super tall and they'll go up around everything. Okay, we've got 3 more caladiums. Okay, how many we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 in each. We can put 1 more in each. I'll put 1 back here. I want to kind of mimic the design in both pots. So things come up in the same area, general area. 2 there. Put 1 more here. Just like that. So I've got 1 more caladium. I'll just pop this guy into the garden somewhere, into the shade garden. Now we gotta water them in before they, where'd that other caladium go? I have 1 more. Here it is. Okay, let me go pop this into the ground real quick, and then we'll water our pots. Okay, here's our beautiful pots. Not exactly matching because a couple things are bigger than the others, and that coleus is going to take a while to bounce back, but once it does, it'll be fine. You see all the caladiums in there, the euphorbia looking beautiful. So this euphorbia is a little bit bigger than this euphorbia. This creeping Goldilocks Jenny is a little bit bigger than this one, but it's okay. It's okay. So I'm thinking maybe these can flank the front door. I think that will look pretty. So let's go place them out there and see how they look. Okay, let's see how these planters look. A little bit, a little tiny for scale wise, but that's okay, you guys. They look beautiful, I think. They're going to bring some much needed color and just structure there. And we'll figure out logistics and all that stuff later. You can see I've got all the other guys out here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's projects and today's video. I hope it inspired you to get out into the garden, try different plants, try things that maybe you thought you didn't like. Try things that you thought would look ugly. Just try something different. It's okay if it doesn't work. You could always take it apart, fix it. You know, just try different things. I love you all so much, and I will see you again soon. Bye.